We've seen movies, heard a few stories, but let's explore real cannibals that were caught very recently. From a woman who skinned her husband and cooked him for his kids, to a man who went willingly to be eaten by another cannibal. That last one is truly horrifying. So let's take a look at some of the most gruesome cannibals of the 21st century. Katherine was born in 1955 and grew up in Tenterfield in New South Wales. She grew up in a dysfunctional family, with her parents constantly fighting and having affairs. Her father was a heavy alcoholic and often threatened her mother with rape whenever they got into an argument. Her mother would then discuss details about her sex life with her children. She was also molested by members of her family until the age of 11. When her grandfather died, she claimed that his ghost came to visit her at night. In school, she was a bully and picked on kids who were smaller than her. She left school at the age of 15 but didn't know how to read or write. A few months later, she got her dream job, working as a butcher in a local slaughterhouse. She was skilled at this job and was quickly promoted, and even got her own set of butchering knives, given to her by her employer. She would keep the knife set over her bed wherever she lived. Her first husband was David Kellett. On her wedding day, Katherine's mother told David, "You better watch this one or I can kill you. You stir her up the wrong way or do the wrong thing and you're Don't ever think of playing up on her. She'll kill you." During the night of her wedding, she tried to strangle David. She claimed he fell asleep after having intercourse 3 times. The marriage was riddled with violence. One time, David was hit on his head with a frying pan. He quickly fled to his neighbor's house and was taken to a hospital, where they determined he had a fractured skull. She was not charged by the police because David didn't want to pursue the matter. David left her for another woman, saying he cannot handle Katherine any longer. Katherine then met David Saunders. Just like before, she was extremely violent with him as well. On one occasion, she cut the throat of his dog right in front of him, saying that's what will happen to him if he ever cheated on her. She then hit him with a frying pan, knocking him unconscious. The final straw for him was when they were in an argument. Katherine stabbed him with a pair of scissors and hit him on the face with an iron. He went into hiding. John Price was her last boyfriend. Even though at the start of their relationship things were going well, within a few months it had turned violent. In an argument, she stabbed John in his stomach. Right after, he kicked her out of the house after being fed up. He then went to the courthouse and got a restraining order against her. On the same afternoon, he told his co-workers if he didn't come to work the next day, it's because Katherine would have killed him. The next day, the neighbor was worried when John's car was still in the driveway. His employer was also concerned since John wasn't at work and sent another worker to check up on John. Both the neighbor and the worker found blood on the front door and quickly called the police. The police broke down the front door to find John's body and Katherine next to him in a comatose state after she had taken a large number of pills. John's autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed 37 times. After a few hours of his death, Katherine had skinned him and hung the skin on a meat hook. Then she decapitated him and cooked parts of his body. She served the meat up with potatoes, pumpkin, and a variety of other vegetables. She had a plate out for each of John's kids, hoping to feed the meal to them. John's head was found in a pot. On November 1st, 2001, Justice O'Keefe sentenced Katherine to life in prison. He also ordered her papers to be marked never to be released. This marked the first time where a woman in Australia was given such a sentence. In 2006, Katherine appealed the life sentence. However, the court dismissed it, saying, "This was an appalling crime, almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society." In early May of 2012, a special group of investigators were looking into the disappearance of teenagers in the Yunnan province in China. The investigators found that a serial killer was attacking men walking along a certain road near Shang's home. His neighbors reported seeing plastic bags hung outside his house and that they saw bones sticking out of them. The investigators entered his home and found human eyeballs preserved in bottles. They also found human flesh left out to dry. After the arrest, it was found that he had eaten parts of his victims, fed other parts to his dogs, and he sold the dried meat to people, saying it was ostrich meat. During his trial, he showed no remorse for his actions, and was sentenced to death. On January 10, 2013, Zhang was executed. He confessed to the murder of 11 victims. Stephen was born on December 24, 1969, and lived in Dewsbury, in the West Riding of Yorkshire. At the age of 18, he left home and broke off contact with his mom. He was doing a PhD in homicide studies at the University of Bradford. On June 22, 2009, a prostitute by the name of Suzanne Rushworth disappeared. The next year, on April 26th, another prostitute named Shelley Armitage disappeared. The same year, on May 21st, Suzanne Blamires disappeared. She was also a prostitute. Parts of Suzanne's body was found in a river. More human tissues were found in the same river that belonged to Shelley. On May 24th, Stephen was arrested. In custody, he said he fantasized about being a serial killer. He also stated that he dismembered the bodies. He then cooked some parts, and others he ate raw. On December 21st, 2010, Stephen was convicted of all 3 murders, after he pled guilty. Armin had a cannibalism fetish and often visited websites like the Cannibal Cafe. On it, he posted an ad, looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. Interestingly, a man named Jürgen Armando Brandis answered the ad. When Jürgen came to Armin's house, they both made a video together. In it, Jürgen takes 20 sleeping pills and a half a bottle of alcohol. Armin then tries to bite off Jürgen's penis. However, that was unsuccessful. They then agree for it to be cut off. Once it was cut off, both of them try to eat the penis. However, Jürgen says it's too tough to chew. Armin then fries it in a pan with salt, pepper, wine, and garlic. In the process, it gets burnt, so he feeds it to his dog. Armin then takes Jürgen to his bathroom so that he can take a bath. He fills it with water and lays Jürgen in it, while Jürgen continues to bleed out. A while later, Jürgen gets out of the bath but falls unconscious due to blood loss. Armin carries Jürgen upstairs and says a prayer. He then stabs Jürgen in the throat and hangs his body on a meat hook. Armin eats Jürgen's corpse for 10 months, keeping it frozen in his freezer. In 2002, Armin was arrested and tried for manslaughter. On January 30, 2004, he was sentenced to 8 years in jail. A year later, however, he was again tried, but this time for murder because he killed for sexual gratification. On May 10, 2006, Armin was sentenced to life imprisonment. Thank you for watching, and we hope it was interesting. Don't forget to subscribe for more content.